Mason's rats. What I like about Mason's rats is that it's a no-frill depiction about nature and adaptation, and what makes a life form valuable. In this video I'll give an explanation about the underlying symbolism in this episode. Mason's rats is a beautiful illustration with vivid colors and a light-hearted feel, but that light-hearted feel is intertwined with dark and bloody visuals as this episode goes on. The plot of Mr. Mason is that he has a rat problem in his barn. In order to solve this rat problem he calls an exterminator, Trap Tech. This introduces the dapper-dressed exterminator who states that the rat problem is becoming a real issue all around and that rats are evolving. He goes on to say, this is because man has changed the environment, so now nature had to adapt and evolve. He tells Mason the rats are probably adapting to this new way of life. But Mr. Mason wants to hear none of it and considers the rats as pests. So he orders from the company the latest in technical rat extermination equipment, the TT6, to rid his barn of these pesky rats, as the new laser mousetrap begins mowing down the rats in the barn. Clear that it's very efficient at what it does. A quick side point: the extermination equipment is so advanced and over the top you can't help but laugh at some of the silliness of it all. But the underlying story is pretty serious. I think that's what I find intriguing about this episode, because there's a humor in the sadness of what's happening. With the new laser rat trap activated, all you can hear in the background is the laser firing in the barn. But it didn't take long for the rats to adapt and figure out a way how to sabotage the rat trap. Mr. Mason is upset that his trap was conquered and destroyed. Immediately called the Trap Tech for another rat trap. When the exterminator arrived, he figured this would happen. So he brought his secret weapon, the TT-15, the most advanced rat trap ever. As Mr. Mason opens the crate holding the TT-15, the menacing-looking giant metallic scorpion machine activates itself and starts to work its brutal efficiency in the barn. The TT-15 is extremely good at its job as it starts to pile up rat body parts by Mason's door. This brutality of rat body parts is off-putting to Mr. Mason because it seems a little too barbaric, even for him. This is illustrated in a disturbing and twisted scene, where it shows a rat family trying to escape, but one of their rat kids trips, and is caught by the TT-15, who then is brutally massacred in front of their eyes. This moment seemed to be a little too much for even Mr. Mason because of the pure ferocity of it. This series of events started causing Mr. Mason to have some doubts about his actions, but it culminated to a head when his daily coffee was accidentally shot out of his hand by overzealous TT-55. This pushed Mr. Mason to the breaking point, and he decides to investigate what's exactly happening in the barn, because all this time he never knew what was happening, so he cracks open the barn door to take a peek. And what he saw was jaw-dropping. He saw an epic battle for survival. He saw rats strategizing, mourning their dead, sacrificing themselves in the battlefield. He saw rats running to help the injured, putting themselves in danger and harm's way. What Mr. Mason saw was bravery. This was a mind-blowing experience for him, because he realized what he was seeing was not mindless out-of-control pest, but something that was actually fighting to live on a level that showed that they were cognizant and aware of their existence. His attention turned to a rat wearing a hat, as he sees it hop into a small vehicle, and rams it into the TT-15, causing it to become damaged, only to see the TT-15 get up and corner that rat. That moment when he saw that this rat with the hat was about to lose his life, that Mr. Mason had a change of heart. He shot the TT-15 and saved the rat with the hat. The episode concludes with Mason sharing a drink together with the rat in the hat. Mason's Rats is a beautiful told story. So, what's the underlying meaning behind it? This is about life changing and adapting so much and quickly, because of the negative effects that humanity has on the environment around it, and how life has to go on, and deal with whatever it is given. I think this is what's at the heart of this story. It focuses on the rats' side of this environmental adaptation, and how they had to change. Plus we have to keep in mind, this story takes place in the future, so who knows how much environmental damage is done to the planet. I think this is about understanding life and its importance, and even though nature can't speak, It speaks volumes when it fights to survive in its own way. I believe, by Mr. Mason taking the time to look inside the barn to finally see the damage that's being done caused him to cultivate a respect for their survival skills. That's why it ends with them sharing a drink. They had developed a camaraderie to coexist with each other, realizing that life will find a way. I found this show intriguing in many ways. So guys, tell me, what did you think about Mason's Rats? By leaving your comments below, it only adds to the levels of engaging fun. And as always, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.